Welcome back to yet another episode of Door Kickers 2 Task Force North, where we've been using realistic military tactics and CQB doctrine to play this game, Door Kickers 2 Task Force North. A couple exciting announcements today. First, I've added another tier to the membership ladder if you want to support the channel. So now, at the Platinum tier, you get all the perks of the tiers beneath it, and you also get a 20% off enduring discount at the CPG Teespring store. So if you want to grab some of my latest merch, like the CPG Operator die cut sticker or the Speed, Surprise, and Violence of Action poster, you can do that. I've got more offerings on the way. Additionally, as a reminder, we are partnered with Artesian Builds. So if you want to grab a brand new, badass, custom-built gaming computer, Artesian Builds will build you one to your specifications, and then you can actually watch them put the PC together on stream. So it's your own way to look at the quality of the build right as your computer comes to life in front of your eyes. Today's video is a tricky one. I'm going to start by playing my in-stride commentary on who I selected for the mission, what the mission was, and what the enemy that I was facing looked like in my initial assessment. Things go awry early on, and at that point I'm going to go ahead and do some live commentary that kind of explains my decision making throughout, and I think there's some really good demonstrations in here of careful limited penetration clearance, as well as some mistakes that I made along the way. But what I think you'll notice most is how careful I was in my clearance and how I'm very cognizant of the angles that I'm triggering as I move through this complex structure, and how important it is to understand fully where threats may emerge from, and then mitigating risk by making sure you are prepared to engage those threats as they appear, while also understanding that you have to accept some risk, as some angles simply must go uncovered due to limited resources or time. That'll all make sense here momentarily. Let's go ahead, travel back in time, and listen to my initial assessment. All right, here we go. Today we're looking at Smash. This is yet another level in the single-player campaign in Door Kickers 2. It's the final level in Operation Subjugator as of today, the 24th of June. And this is a secure and extract the enemy HVT, the high-value target mission. And we'll do what we usually do. We'll do some terrain analysis. We'll take a look at the battlefield, figure out what kind of enemy situation we think we're facing, use that to inform how we equip our dudes, and then take those dudes into the fight, kill or capture, hopefully capture our bad guy and get out unscathed. At least that's the plan. So we get 4 assaulters to accomplish this. I've already kitted them out and put them right here. I'll talk you through their gear here in a second. But as you can see, we're going to make entry somewhere over here. We've got some raw materials that are outside in this kind of courtyard area. It's clearly an enemy position because you can see this fortification out front. There's a PK or something here on the ground. It looks like we might have already been in contact, and this was like a primary battle position or a primary fighting position, and the enemy is now starting to like fall back into their alternate and supplementary and subsequent fighting positions internal to the structure as we continue to press on our mission to capture the bad guy. We've got to be careful about how we're, employing handheld weapon systems, because we really don't know what's in these tanks. It could be combustible, it could be super dangerous, so we got to be careful about how we're throwing stuff and what we're shooting, and making sure our marksmanship is exactly as accurate as it should be. Another potential defensive fighting position here, and then of note, this glass is also like wide open, so anyone in here would be able to see me as I come around that corner. As I start peeking inside, I'm not seeing weapons or anything like that in this initial kind of portion, but this is a massive complex, and it looks like it's some sort of like rocky outcrop or underground facility, and this is like indicative of some high ground, and then potentially like a mountain is all in here. So this is all like an underground kind of tunnel system. Inevitably, we're gonna have to clear all this, which means we are going to need a way to get through it, which means I need to bring a wall charge because this is sealed right here. So I do have a wall charge with me. We'll go ahead and breach this and then continue our movement. As I start looking over here, it gets a little bit more dangerous. So I've got a potential weapons crate here. There is a significant looking weapons cache down here. We've got a heavy weapon system, big weapons storage crates. Looks like RPKs over here, another weapons crate here. bunch of handguns here. So, and that situation just continues to get worse as we kind of look around. Can't tell what they're building, but definitely some sort of manufacturing. And if they're building, if they're maintaining a weapons cache down here, God knows what sort of manufacturing this could be. Looking up here, it looks like we've got some mortar rounds or shoulder fired or some sort of, ammunition or supplies here. More weapons crates, a bunch more weapons. I mean, this place is absolutely out of control. Shoulder fired stuff, recoilless rifle kind of stuff with rockets. Yeah, you guys get the idea. This is incredibly this is a bad situation. My biggest concern, honestly, is I'm not supposed to kill the HVT, right? But if I'm seeing this stuff, like, I'm leading with HE all the way. I'm being super, super violent to protect my guys and to clear through this place. My other concern from a mission perspective is if I have 4 guys and they're forced to spawn over here, we're clearing this way, and I'm hunting an HVI, that HVI is just going to squirt out of that breach right there, get in this vehicle and leave. So there's like an enormous risk to mission, and under real world circumstances I'd want to lock down or isolate all of these potential exfil routes with either a sensor that could detect a departure, or ideally people with guns who could stop it from happening. But with all that in mind, we kind of know what we have to do. We have to breach here, clear this, find our bad guy before he departs, and capture him and do it safely and get him to this little square right there. To accomplish this, we have 4 dudes, which is outrageous, but that's what we've got. I've chosen to bring 3 assaulters and 1 grenadier. Bacon's bringing an M4, a Glock. I'm giving everyone both level 3 front plates as well as side plates, just because I'm expecting a hell of a gunfight as we move through here. We got a mix of frags, bangs, and door charges. My Grenadier has the 203 underneath his M4. We've got another Glock, again, front, back plates, side plates, frags, bangs, and I brought the breaching shotgun, so now we've got explosive method of breaching. We also have a ballistic method of breaching. Here's my wall charge, 2 bangs, 2 frags. I just realized I need to give side plates to our boy Philly here, and then finally we've got extra frags. So we're going to be throwing a hell of a lot of explosives, I think, just based off of fighting underground and fighting in these long hallways. The only way to mitigate risk to force as you're moving down these long hallways is going to be to lead with HE and get effects out in front of us as we move. We'll try to remain uncompromised as long as possible. I just don't know how possible that's going to be. So let's go ahead and see if we can get started. Maintaining security as we move, working the stack. No eyes yet. Peeking into this structure. I'm not seeing anything yet. Kind of just working these angles while maintaining real good security for my guys that are up in lead. I'm confident I'm not going to take contact from the rear. I say that, but just based off not having taken contact yet. The reason I was pulling good rear security initially is because it looked like we had been in a fight based off of the fire and the weapon that was abandoned here. But that's what we've got so far. We're going to start bounding up. I'm surprised we haven't seen anybody yet. Alright, so now go ahead and peek this corner, maintain good security while we do it front and side. Continuing to bound, continuing to work these angles. Still working these bounds. I cannot believe we haven't seen anybody yet. This door is now kind of a concern, so I'll have him pivot up to here.
They're here!
Who the hell saw us? Anyone see any bad guys? Whoa.
I'm hit.
That's some straight door kicker stuff right there. Are you kidding me? They were on top of each other. Alright. We are going to frag while maintaining this angle. Pretty frustrated that we already have a injured assaulter. I know we were talking a lot earlier about being wary of secondaries. Barricaded shooter situation like that, I'm not going to take any chances. And we're going to get bombs in the fight. Now that we have been compromised, I'm a little bit concerned about this breach. I want to finish clearing this area as fast as I can. So we'll hold this, push here, hold this. I kind of want to pry off the rest of this from external. So we'll maintain, give our boy here a couple stop points, kind of continue to work out this geometry here. Okay, check your left.
Alpha, go.
Alright, we've done a good combat clearance of all of the rooms that we can see so far. So knowing that, I actually know I can preserve bangs and I can just go dynamic in here based off of me holding this breach and holding this breach with this guy. And I'm safe to enter this place, but I could also achieve an L by pressing inside here and holding this threshold. So I'll put 2 in here. Typically wouldn't want to split the force like this with such a small element, but just not having more manpower, this is tactically my best option despite not having a ton of people to help support me. You guys know how I feel about this. I'm trying to preserve some of my limited resources, in this case being my explosive door charges. So as you guys can imagine, after I lost that assaulter, when I booted that door open, even though he had the drop on the enemy, even though I had the element of surprise coming through that breach, even though I was well positioned to take the shot, after I lost that guy, I was a little bit demoralized. I was pretty frustrated by the game. I continued planning, continued executing. The clearance of this entire complex took a very, very long time. So what I want to do is show you guys the replay and give you some live commentary on the decisions that I made and why I made them and how the result turned out. So let's run it all the way back to the beginning when we are all the way outside of the complex and we're entering from the western portion. So my initial movement was very deliberate, very slow. I'm using bounding overwatch in my fire team, maintaining solid rear security. I know that I'm approaching the target compound, and as soon as I begin to see those apertures, those open breach points, those windows, I start pointing guns at them and maintaining it. I'm also providing good buddy coverage as I move up to and do high lows on each one of these corners, and I'm just continually maintaining security on each breach point that could affect me. But despite my best efforts, I wasn't able to spot that guy. I threw the grenade just to be certain of it. And I guess my frustration here is I had really good security, and it's kind of the same situation we saw in the last episode. It's that the Fog of War in this game identifies like specific points on the ground as the entire model, so I can't see a portion of the enemy model. You either see the point, and as a result of seeing that point, the entire enemy character, or you don't see the point, and as a result, see none of the character. So, you know, I don't know how well or how possible it would be to put some code in the game that allows you to see partial models, but that would be the fix to this situation. Now, this other sign, now this next attempt, I do everything I can, throw the door open in the right way, but nonetheless take a casualty. I'm down to 3 assaulters, including an injured one, and we haven't even made it through to the underground portion of this incredibly complex area yet. We'll go ahead and we get this wall charge set up. We could talk a long time about what it takes to breach underground. Suffice it to say that blast overpressure is a concern, and a charge of this size in this kind of environment would be technically very challenging. We go ahead and we throw that explosive breach open, and we begin moving underground. I got 3 assaulters left. We've made a lot of noise, gotten a lot of gunfights, so I'm leading with bangs from here on out for so long as I have bangs available to lead with. We take contact on the corner. Leads me to throw another bang to make sure we high-low it, get 2 guns down the hallway at the same time. And I'm constantly checking each one of these thresholds as we bypass it. We got a kind of a weird situation here where I've got to get in and clear this door, but I also got to hold the hallway. So I push one assaulter long past the doorway, and I go with an LP, a limited penetration clearance here initially, and then ultimately dynamic with my other 2 assaulters. That room is now clear and secure. Corner-fed room, nice little doctrinal clearance. High-load the corner again, get good eyes down the hallway, and we need to once again bypass our one guy that is pulling security so that we can move to enter and clear the portion of the structure there in the south. And this is a real challenging one because the hallway creates a fatal funnel, so I elected to go explosive in here. Nothing seen initially. It's a prison cell, it looks like. We pie off each prison cell and confirm that there are no prisoners. and no enemy in that location. Good thing we were still pulling security long down the hallway because we do end up hitting yet another bad guy, killing one enemy combatant while we move. And as we start working these angles, we take contact from a barricaded shooter who's blind firing a PK long down the hallway. We all know the best solution to a barricaded shooter is handhelds, maintaining standoff, leading with HE, and that's exactly what we do. Push past that threshold and take a whole lot of contact from the room. Now I've got 2 assaulters split across 1 threshold. I take contact again from the same location that barricaded shooter was, and I've still got 2 enemies holding this room. So this is a real dangerous situation. I'm balancing the risk of the open space to my rear with where I know enemies to be in this room, but ultimately get 2 barrels in and successfully enter and clear the room. There's still dead space to my front. We try cross coverage, but we take a casualty in the process. We're doing all the right things, using the right tactics, using the right techniques, but not even that can guarantee a successful clearance at all times. We go ahead and transition back to handhelds, throw a frag, and kill the enemy who caused that casualty. So with only 2 of my original 4 assaulters left, I have to make some really tough decisions. To my north, my buddy is still holding down that long hallway and maintaining security for me. He's that blocking position that's preventing my assaulter that is clearing from taking contact from the rear. But after we encounter a second barricaded shooter, it becomes very clear we're going to need both assaulters to mutually support one another in this fight. So we move forward, we get more handhelds in the fight. We maintain rear security while we do it, and we knock out the second barricaded shooter that we have encountered so far. Now we've got a buddy team alone and unafraid. You'll notice that I'm super sensitive to risk now with only 2 assaulters left. We're using a lot more limited penetration. We're being very, very careful about our method of entry, and we're really, really careful about security. So we've got nice cross coverage in this nice wide hallway. I'm seeing that bunker or those sandbags over there, which has me concerned. We have 1 bag grenade, a wasted handheld because of a misclick, but we get back in the fight, get the grenade where it should be, end up putting it on target as well as some direct fire, while still maintaining good security to the rear of our buddy, which turns out to pay dividends because we do encounter 2 more enemy combatants, one of whom we managed to shoot while he tries to escape. We're back to back now, maintaining security to the front and to the rear, using these tiny little pieces of terrain to continue to keep us out of fire and out of harm's way while maintaining good security both to the front and to the rear, and then simultaneously entering spaces on that center fed room there so that we can continue to crush a good security situation. I want to wrap up clearing most of this other stuff to our rear before we press forward into the final portion of the bunker. And so once again, making sure we've got good rear security, good front security, watching these hallways very carefully. I do see that 1 enemy combatant, but I don't want to chase him until I know that I've got the dead space to our rear clear and secure. And I know he's in this open breach. So because he's in that open breach, I swap my buddies out, lead with the handheld, push in, dynamic, earn the kill. And I've got 1 structure left in this portion of the bunker. We go ahead and we mechanically breach with our boot, determine that it's clear, and our 2 assaulters can push long to the final portion of the bunker. So these hallways, we're real careful about how we move, make sure we can keep both guns in the fight as long as we can. Because we didn't have good eyes on that hallway, I do pie it as we pass. Now we encounter sandbags, making sure we're crossing 1 at a time. And folks, this is where things start to get exciting. I got enemy deep already. Because we high load the corner, we get 2 barrels on the targets and we knock them both out quickly, but I have an open breach right, a closed door left. Both of those doors are across from one another. It's a nightmare scenario for a buddy team. There's nothing in Doctrine that can help you achieve this. All we can do is use some limited penetration. So we take a step, we pie it very, very carefully, finally commit somebody. But look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 suicide bombers. I get both of our guys back in the hallway, and thank goodness that I pulled long security for the duration of that encounter. Had we not done so, we would have absolutely been overwhelmed. And if we had not maintained that standoff, we would have completely been consumed by those suicide bombers and failed as a result. I did hold that hallway for some time to ensure we didn't have any more suicide bombers responding to the audible signature of that gunfire, and again performing a limited penetration pie of this structure before finally entering this room, quickly checking both points of domination, and then getting both of my assaulters back in the hallway. Remember, I'm still looking for that high-value individual, that HVT, and we're finally entering the last portion of the bunker, and we have not yet encountered him. I'm real careful about how I enter here, taking it nice and slow, not sure where more suicide bombers may be located. Sure enough, there is my HVI, but I don't want to get tunnel vision. I don't want to get sucked into him, and that is why. So we've got good cross coverage. It pays off. I want to maintain custody of that HVI by staring at him, pointing a gun at him, maintaining security on him, making sure he doesn't have a vest, but I want to work the L as well and finish clearing out some of this dead space on his flank so that I can get a good L shape before I move forward and ultimately take custody of him and put my hands on him. I've now confirmed that the room adjacent to him is completely clear and secure. This door gives me access to him, and now I can point a gun at him. I can maintain control of the door on the southern breach point. I can pull good security for my buddy while he puts the HVI in handcuffs. I'm loving this game today as much as I ever have. Remember, we've added that new membership tier. If you want to support Controlled Pairs Gaming and all of my other side projects, it's a great way for you to contribute. And as a Platinum member, you'll also get 20% off over at Teespring. If you want to buy some dope CPG products, links to that can be found below in the description. And so too can the game store, where you can purchase a copy of Door Kickers 2 for yourself or your buddy. Thanks so much for your support. Thanks for watching. I'm Controlled Pairs. I play the most immersive tactical shooters and combat sims in the world. This is Door Kickers 2 Task Force North. I'll see you in the next one.